And still in West Africa, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, says Ghana has reached agreement with the International Monetary Fund on terms for a second payment of $600 million out of $3 billion credit deal. It says payment of the second portion of Ghana's loan will come after the IMF's board's final approval and bring the total disbursed since May to $1.2 billion. Ghana signed a deal with the IMF in December as the country sought to shore up its public finances and better manage debts to emerge from its worst economic crisis in decades. I'm now joined live by Adib Saani, who is the Executive Director, Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building. Glad to have you join me, Adib Saani.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now how would you assess the potential security implication of Ghana's high public debt levels and also the impact it has on the country's economic and national stability?
Well, Ghana, just like many other countries within the sub-region, have to contend with a myriad of security challenges. I've always contended that youth unemployment is one of the biggest existential threats to the security of Ghana. The lack of infrastructure, the road project, the situation of the roads in the country is nothing to be proud about. Just a few days ago, we had residents of a community called Ashaima in the Greater Accra region coming out in their numbers to demonstrate against the nature of their roads. We've also had demonstrations by different entities, including the Democracy Hub, and even members of the opposition who are calling for the resignation of the Bank of Ghana governor. So surely the state of the economy is not allowing government to pay attention to some of these important areas, such as youth employment. For example, one of the biggest challenges in Ghana so far as public expenditure is concerned is the wage bill. And that is one of the conditionalities Ghana is mostly given to reduce its expenditure on the wage bill. Yet people need to be employed. Unfortunately, because of those conditionalities, government is not able to employ. What government has done in recent times is to institute a number of initiatives, such as the Youth Employment Agency. In the past, we had the National Youth Employment Project, and a whole host of others, including one called NAPO, Nation Builders Corps. But mostly these are ad hoc, okay? So you would work for a year or two. After that, you are asked to go home. So it's not sustainable. There's no job security. So surely what is happening in the country has a severe impact on human security, which invariably affects fiscal security.
Right. Now, Mr. Saani, Ghana is a country that relies heavily on its natural resources, particularly oil and gold for revenue. What security challenges might arise from dependence on these oil and gold, and also how can these be addressed?
Well, Ghana, just like Nigeria, has no reason to be poor. We have too much riches in the soil, in the water. And I found it profound when Ibrahim Traore said something when they went for the Africa-Russia summit. It's like he can't imagine how rich we are, yet we would have to rely on Western aid and all that. Ghana has a lot of mineral resources. We have gold, we have timber, we have oil. There's so much cocoa. Ghana makes a lot of money on an annual basis from cocoa sales, and a whole host of other resources. Just because of bad governance, we are not able to make do with what we have. I remember when Ghana struck oil for the first time some years ago under then President Adib. I wrote, a feature article that was published in the National Daily. I was like, why are you celebrating? Don't you have enough lessons to learn from Nigeria? Okay, mark my words. This oil would come and go and you wouldn't feel it. Fuel is still expensive in Ghana, despite us having so much oil. So because of bad governance, corruption, and accountability, it makes nonsense of all the resources we have as a country. And trust me, We can have it all, but without that leadership, it would amount to nothing. And our situation is very similar to that of Nigeria, unfortunately.
Right. Let's talk about away from, bad governance. Now, Ghana has been engaged in debt restructuring discussions with official creditors. I mean, top on the list right now is IMF. What security risks or opportunities might be associated with these negotiations, and how would you analyze them?
Well, surely, when you go to the IMF, what it means is you are distressed. You have no option. IMF is your last hope. Indeed, if Ghana had not gone to the IMF, the economy would have crumbled into pieces. Okay? So when you go there, they also have some conditions you would have to abide by. Like I mentioned, with respect to the wage bill. So what it means is government cannot employ. There's a lot of restructuring that would also go on. For example, last year, a lot of investors had serious issues with the financial institutions. You go keep money in the bank that you cannot have access to. So someone was, on a lighter note, telling me the other day that your money in the bank is not your money. I know of many people in Ghana who had invested millions of Ghana's decent dollars that didn't have access to it. Those who bought the bonds, the bills, etc. They couldn't have access to even their principal. They are saying, okay, you keep the interest, give us just the principal. And to date, some people are still paid, in piecemeal. All right, so there is low confidence in the financial sector.
All right.
People would rather keep their monies in their bedrooms, which I must say is what is also creating inflation and having rippling effects on the prices of food and other commodities, including fuel, which has serious impact on especially the.
Thank you very much for your perspective. We hope things turn around for Ghana as a country and also for Africa as a continent. Thank you so much, Adib Saani, Executive Director at the Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building. Thank you.
Thank you.